Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Gaming Mix podcast, your official podcast from analogstickgaming.com. My name, of course, if you don't know me by now, is Jordan, one of the co-owners of Analog Stick Gaming. And to my right, as always, although he snuck in just as the intro was playing, is Jeff. How are you doing, Jeff?
Doing pretty good. Banter is sleeping under the couch right now. So,
Good. We have some gaming news to obviously talk about today, but to give people a little indication, we have also still been watching wrestling, and yes, Zack Ryder decided to randomly show up on SmackDown this week, which was a nice little surprise.
Chelsea Green was, there, and that's his wife or girlfriend. I don't know.
Yes, it is.
Relationship,
Yeah.
But
we also, of course, had the confirmation this week in the wrestling world that someone we are both fans of has now officially signed with WWE. That being Joe Hendry, who it was long expected anyway, right? We don't know where he is right now.
Say his name and you. Also, he just appears next to me like, hey.
But yeah, I'm glad that's happened because he felt like he was with WWE anyway. So, as much as he was with TNA, it's sort of
he's been signed by WWE. That means him and that girl have got to beat Ethan Page and Chelsea Green at that AAA or NXT event, right?
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
Like, you would have to.
I mean, because he'll be in NXT for a while, but I absolutely expect Joe Hendry to get the fast track towards main roster. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if by shortly after WrestleMania this coming year, he'll probably be on main roster.
See, the thing with that too is like they really have to figure out a plan of putting them into main roster and then sticking with that plan, because like they've done wonders for Stephanie Vaquer. Like she has done great for it. But then you get someone who I feel is just as much talented, and that's Julia, and they've done fuck all with her.
I agree. If anything, I would say that Julia might even be better in some ways.
Like, she has, like, I love her character, like the bad kind of thing and stuff like that. Like, I think that could be really cool, but I don't know. Like, they teaming up her with Kiana James, I think, was a mistake. I think Julia worked better, and I know they did it just because like her English and stuff. They want an English speaker kind of sticking with her and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like she had every chance of being like the new Asuka, like the new like Io Sky and stuff, where like they struggle on some basic levels of standard English, but they're still incredible performers. Like, I think she is an incredible performer, and she's getting a complete disservice done to her.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Completely agree. But yeah, I just wanted to put those couple of little notes in there because obviously we haven't had any big events recently. But I did think that Joe Hendry signing officially with WWE was newsworthy, and a Zack Ryder return is always nice. And there was confirmation today that he's not officially signed with WWE at the moment, so that was expected to only be a one-off appearance for now. But, I mean, however, it might lead to something.
Yeah, like take a look at the reception when he came in. Everyone was doing the woos.
Yeah. He probably should have won that match, in all honesty. Like, I like LA Knight.
Here's the thing, though. They couldn't have.
Yeah.
And the reason why, one, it's probably a one-off. But two, if they have LA Knight lose, that's just more fuel to the fire that WWE is burying LA Knight because he is
true.
Downward spiral of everything. People were thinking that he was penalized for holding up that sign.
Do you know, so the one that I actually do agree with that I've seen online though, and I like Jey Uso, okay?
Yeah.
But I do think The Miz should have beat Jey Uso in this tournament. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. If Jey Uso isn't winning, and he's not, there would have been no point for him to have won this because he's already involved in War Games, right? So having the Miz carry on and go forward and giving people some hope that he was going to fight John Cena, because we know it's
And,
going to
and it's not just that, but the Miz has more history with John Cena. So story-wise, it just makes more sense. You know, like,
because it's not going to be Sheamus. It's not going to be that screaming guy Rusev. It's not going to be like Jey Uso. Yeah, it's not going to be like anyone that's in the tournament right now. And I mean, like, you got Javon Evans taking on Gunther next week, whatever. And Gunther's
there's one more surprise, isn't there?
And that's on Monday.
Which I expect to be Joe Hendry. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
And I do think that there's a chance. I know everyone expects the final opponent to be Gunther, and I still do.
I think they might have swerved. I think they might have go, hey, the internet leaked this months ago.
Yeah.
Let's prove that the dirt sheets are wrong, and we'll pivot.
So I think if they do pivot, I think it will be Joe Hendry, and I'll give you the reason why. So, firstly, is because I think Joe Hendry has the potential to become the next John Cena in terms of connection to a certain audience within their crowd.
He's a wrestler that feels more natural being a face, because I could never see a heel version of Joe Hendry.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't work, would it? What are they going to do? Say his name and he doesn't appear?
Yeah, he just appears with a knife.
But yeah, so that's the first reason. But the second reason, something that not all wrestling fans know, but Joe Hendry was a massive fan of John Cena when he was younger. And he actually credits John Cena with being the reason that he is a wrestler. And he said earlier this year that if he could make one thing happen this year, it would be to wrestle John Cena before he retires.
That was the thing that he's like, hey, in order to sign me, you have to do this.
Yeah.
And can you imagine the upset if Javon Evans beats Gunther? But I mean, like, Gunther's been gone for a little while, so like him coming back and immediately losing.
I also think that Gunther is a bit of a weird one because he's one of those wrestlers where, because he is so brutal in the ring, him occasionally losing a match here and there in a certain way doesn't really hurt him at all. Like, he seems impervious to losing. Like, you know, it's weird. But I'll be quite honest, I don't think that Gunther has the, how can I put it? I don't think he has the carrying weight,
you know,
that WWE thinks that he has.
I kind of think now, based off what John Cena said, I don't think it's going to be Gunther. Because,
really?
All right, so here's my train of thought. I think it could be Joe Hendry, because Joe Hendry right now is signed with WWE and he's on NXT.
Yeah.
What has John said that Saturday Night Main Event is going to consist of?
It's like the end of one story, but the start of another. That sort of thing. There's
a specific theme to that Saturday Night Main Event.
Oh, what did he say? I can't remember now.
Cena sticks to that theme. It cannot be Gunther.
What was it he said?
Every single match will be main roster versus NXT.
Oh, okay.
So every single match on that Saturday Night Main Event will have a WWE star versus an NXT star.
So in that case, it has to be Joe Hendry, right?
It can't be Gunther then. Why would he theme that whole Saturday Night
and then break his own rule in his match?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe John is like, hey, Gunther's not the choice. It's a leak. We can prove it wrong. And if we have Joe Hendry win. So
maybe that's why, because apparently Joe Hendry's TNA contract wasn't originally up till December sometime.
Yeah.
But apparently WWE, basically because of their good relationship with TNA, came in a bit early and paid some
Yeah.
extra money or something and got him under contract early.
If he's going to have the entire thing be WWE versus NXT, it makes zero sense for it to be Gunther.
I agree. Yeah, if that is the case, yeah, I completely agree with that.
Yeah.
Do you know what? The one thing that makes me sad is I know, like, John Cena's a company man and he does go with what the company says. And I know that.
Well, the NXT is his idea.
I know that that's his idea. I just wonder, because obviously we know that the Edge thing isn't happening, but there was a lot of speculation
he's
for a
still
long
under
time.
AEW contract till next year. Jericho's the only close one.
I just wonder, under a perfect world, under the right circumstances, whether Cena would have chosen somebody like an Edge or a Chris Jericho instead. Because those two have so much history with him over the years that it's. But then I also think back to what he said recently of like he wants to go out in the same way that he came in, sort of thing, of like offering someone that chance to step up to him, and that's where the NXT thing comes back in.
Like Gunther doesn't need it. I mean, he already like retired.
Goldberg, right? Yeah.
So like, I don't like. Is that going to be his thing? Where he's
my thing is, what does Gunther gain? Gunther gains nothing, and I expect Cena to lose on his final match because I think he's a traditionalist in that way.
I think almost every single retirement match, that person's lost.
Yeah. So in that, I just think the more that I think about it now as we're talking about it, Joe Hendry almost feels perfect for the situation, because what a way to set him up as, for people who don't know him already, and there are some people within the wrestling crowd that don't really know Joe Hendry yet. He's more known than he was before, but he's not. They don't know him as a wrestler. They know him as the meme at the moment. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And what a way to kick off his WWE career, of having him be John Cena's final opponent. Whether he wins or loses, that's a moment of history for him, which they can go to many places with, you know? So it's it's interesting.
The only thing is we gotta remember that whoever beats John Cena gets the Intercontinental title.
Yes. Yeah.
And I mean, if he has the Intercontinental title,
unless he has a match to drop the belt before that.
Yeah, Survivor Series, because he's probably not going to be in the War Games match.
Like, I could see him potentially. So I could see something potentially happening where he drops that belt to Sheamus, because Sheamus is also. He is, but I wonder whether something could happen where he ends up fighting Sheamus for the belt, and Sheamus will beat him for the belt, because Sheamus is also one of the only other wrestlers that is missing the Intercontinental Championship to make him a Grand Slam champion. So,
well, like another thing as well too that they could do, whatever, is if you have John Cena on the next episode of Raw or whatever, which I think still has one more episode. John could be like, "Hey, I want my what is it?
Like a rematch
clause or whatever, like that, for the title or whatever." And then like Rey Mysterio comes on and he goes, "Oh, typical Dom bitching, blah blah blah." And John Cena's like, "You know what, Rey? how about we fight for the Intercontinental belt? And then Dom's like, wait, you're going to get my deadbeat dad like a title shot or whatever like that? And it's like, that's stupid. He goes, you know what? You've convinced me. It's like, all right, tonight. And then Rey Mysterio beats John Cena for the belt. And then that builds up Rey Mysterio versus
Dom again. Yeah. Yeah. There is obviously the one thing to say as well. We love talking about wrestling here, but the one thing to say is that there is still speculation that John Cena might be involved in WrestleMania in some capacity, because he is on the poster and he is featured heavily in the promotion for it so far. So I wonder whether something could happen at this John Cena's last match event that leads to a bigger final story for him.
I don't think so. Mainly because they are charging up the ass for these tickets.
Yeah, have you heard the tickets aren't selling very well?
And the tickets for his event apparently are selling extremely well. But that would be intentional inflation.
True. Yeah, true. So there would be a legal problem if there would be
huge repercussions if they were to sell it off as his final match and then knowing that it wasn't his final match.
Yeah, true. If they knew in advance,
like
that's
John
true.
Cena could be the host of WrestleMania.
Yeah, that's one way to do it for sure. For sure. It's going to be interesting to see either way. I do think, having spoken about it now, I would be shocked if they go with Gunther. And in a way, the more I think about it, I'd be a bit disappointed, because I don't think Gunther needs it, because he's already had Goldberg this year.
Last match as well too.
Yeah.
Like I don't. Here's the thing. I don't like Gunther at all. Period. I don't think anything that he's done has made me go like, oh yeah, he's really good. Because there's heels that like I just don't like, but I understand. Their appeal. I just don't understand anything on Gunther.
Yeah, I get that. That's definitely fair. Time will tell. We don't have much longer to wait for that final John Cena match now. We're about a month away from it, something like that. Let us know if you're a wrestling fan. Let us know in the comments, who do you think is going to be John Cena's final opponent out of this lineup of people?
Trish Stratus.
And it's going to be very interesting to see. We will keep an eye on it. I'm sure that we'll talk about it on the podcast when that time comes. But for now, we should probably get back to gaming. However, before we get to the news, Jeff, I believe we have a little word from our sponsor.
Sure. The Gaming Mix is brought to you by NordVPN. Protect yourself from numerous online threats, secure your passwords, and browse a wealth of region-locked content at a crazy low price. Visit nordvpn.com/analogtogaming today, as well as any of the links available on our current website.
Now, what do we have for the news today, Jeff?
We got a ton. All right, so we will scroll up to the top here. More than 200 employees at Rockstar North have delivered a letter to management asking that their fired colleagues be immediately reinstated. Earlier this month, Rockstar dismissed over 30 staff across its offices in the UK and Canada for what it called gross misconduct, relating to what it called alleged leaking of company secrets in a public forum. Last week, the Independent Workers Union of Great Britain alleged that the employees were fired because they were part of a IWGB Game Workers Union channel on Discord and were either members of the unit or were attempting to organize a union at Rockstar. Rockstar replied with a statement in which it claimed the gross misconduct in question revolved around the sharing of company information in a forum that included non-Rockstar staff. Earlier this week, the IWGB issued a legal claim against Rockstar, claiming the employees were dismissed in circumstances that we believe amount to victimization and collective dismissal linked to trade union activity. Now, the union says 220 current employees at the Edinburgh-based Rockstar North had delivered a letter to senior management condemning the firing of 31 employees and demanding the immediate reinstation of their colleagues. One former employee, who the union is calling Peter to protect their identity, said in a statement, "It's heartwarming to see so many of our colleagues supporting us and holding management to account during a period where Rockstar wants us to feel scared. My brave former colleagues are marching straight up to our boss's door and demanding our voices are heard and not backing down." So, yeah, like this has been a very interesting topic because it's either these people were actually guilty in leaking assets or leaking company information,
Yes.
or
Yeah.
it's union busting and it makes Rockstar look extremely bad. Now, here's the thing. It kind of looks bad either way for Rockstar. I don't think bad press is ever going to affect the sale of their game. So
No, I don't.
I don't see what Rockstar really has to lose here,
Yeah.
other than obviously there's going to be some disgruntled
Yeah.
employees. There's going to be like that kind of talk to it.
And I think it's also an awkward situation, right? Because if it's union busting, then that creates potential issues for future recruitment, or other staff that are there might now want to leave because they think, well, if you're not letting us protect ourselves, then, you know, what,
Yeah.
like that can lead to all kinds of issues. But then it's also, on the other hand, it has the negative part of, like, if this was leaks, then Rockstar are justified in getting rid of these people.
Yeah, but I mean, where are these leaks? Like because we know that the leak before with the source code and all that kind of stuff was a son's friend had leaked it or whatever, like that kind of thing. It wasn't something that was determined by these other people.
Yes,
So these
I agree.
30-some people, are we thinking that 31 people are collectively leaking shit? It makes sense for
It's
one or
crazy.
two,
Yeah.
right?
And also, if there were that many people, if all of those people were leaking stuff,
There'd be shit everywhere.
we would know a lot more about this game.
Oh, there would be like 7 hours of gameplay on like,
Yeah.
on a various site and stuff. There would be like so much stuff.
Because also, like, these 30-ish people are probably from different areas of the game, right? They probably worked on different areas of the game. So therefore we would see so many things. And that's why, look, I actually like Rockstar as a company, and I do think that some of the negativity they've had in the past over other things has not really been warranted. But what I would say is that in this case, I'm inclined to think that it probably is union busting, because I find it unusual that you get rid of these people and then it's not until you're criticized for union busting that all of a sudden you come out and say, oh no, we got rid of these people because they were leaking stuff. But you don't have any actual evidence to show, like, if they could come out and guarantee, yeah, look, here's our evidence that these people were leaking things, then it would be different. But they can't do that, and they haven't done that. And therefore, I do think it's probably some form of union busting. And it may be, do you know what? To give them somewhat the benefit of the doubt, it might be a little bit of both. Maybe a few of these 30 people were leaking things. You know, maybe 2, 3, 4 people were leaking things.
See, the thing about the leaks and stuff, now that I'm thinking about it, is it may not even be public types of leaks. So they say they're part of this Discord. So what if this Discord included 5 or 10 people that were non-Rockstar? So that
precisely, if they're from another company,
that's technically leaking.
Yeah, because you're also like, I'll put it this way to people. It's like when we sign an agreement because we've been given a review code for something, right? If we say certain things about whatever product we've been given a review code for ahead of a very specific date, we are technically leaking information. Like, even though, yes, you could argue, well, that information's now in our hands and it's therefore it's out in the public. It's like, no, that's not how it works.
I hate
So
I hate the agreements where it's kind of like, hey, make sure you don't break the embargo till like November 18th, and it'll be for a game that was released like 3 years ago on another platform.
yeah, and I find that so weird. I find that so
I
weird.
get that as well too, because like I get an embargo whatever for like Pacific Drive or something, and then like yeah, that shit was on PlayStation like 2 years ago.
And I mean, I get it in some sense in those cases where it's like maybe they don't want people to know if it's a certain port that performs badly or something, right?
Yeah.
They might not want people to know until the game is nearly out. But this is what I mean. Leaking, as Jeff just said, it doesn't mean that if these people were leaking things to look at it from that perspective, it does not mean they were leaking these things publicly. They could have, and I don't believe this many people were leaking things. I want to be very clear about that.
31 seems. I mean, here's the thing: if they were all in the Discord and 3 people did it, they could be seen as like a group.
Yeah, because therefore they are co-responsible, right? That could be.
It's like somebody like robbing a bank, whatever, and like the passenger's like, "Hey, Jim, what are we doing here at the bank here?" And all of a sudden, 3 people get into the vehicle and they drive off.
Like if I had an embargo for something that I was working on for our website, and I told you, and then you leaked it.
Yeah.
We are co-responsible because I've told you. Do you see what I mean? So there is some co-responsibility, but my point is, as Jeff said, they could have potentially been leaking these things on Discord to other industry colleagues that work for other developers. They could have been leaking, it could have been that they found out they told their families about something. Do you know what I mean? And yes, technically, you're not going to avoid your family finding out about certain things that you work on. I get that. But I also think that because of Rockstar's previous experience with a massive leak because of the friend of a family member of a developer, it's like they're probably a lot more hot on that stuff of like, no, you make sure that people outside of this office do not know what you're working on. So but yeah, I quite frankly, this is one case where I don't believe Rockstar, and I'll defend Rockstar on other things in the past. I think that a lot of the criticism they got around crunch, for example, was actually really unwarranted and a little bit unrealistic, because you can look at and talk to anyone at any game studio ever, and there is always a period of development where that's just how it works. Like it's a horrible thing to say, but certain things come with territory, right? However, I do not agree with getting rid of people just because they wanted to unionize. Like, people should be able to unionize and use their collective power to protect themselves if they see fit to do so. Not everybody thinks that that's the right thing, and sometimes being part of a union can be a bad thing in some cases, but not always. So we have to let people make their own choices, and I'm glad that there are staff members at Rockstar that are campaigning to the management to get these people reinstated. And I also think, quite frankly, that those people wouldn't be doing that if these people had leaked things.
Yeah, like it would definitely speak ill of their character as well too, and they could be seen as potential people to let go as well.
And not only that, but what developer do you know, Jeff, that actually likes anyone leaking anything about something they've spent years of their life working on? Right.
Well, I mean, there's always the assumption that some leaks are actually provided by the publisher in certain ways.
Yeah, of course. But we'll see what happens with this news. I'm keen to see if any of these staff do get reinstated. because I think that will be very telling about what the real circumstances were around these firings. But for now, we do have more news to move on to. So where are we going next, Jeff?
This is an interesting one. Ubisoft has halted trading and postponed its earning results, which could potentially indicate that a significant announcement is on the way. The Assassin's Creed publisher was due to publish its second quarter results on Thursday, but instead, just 15 minutes earlier, issued a statement announcing their postponement and alerting the market that trading in its shares will be halted. It's possible the move is related to an announcement or acquisition, but it also could be due to some kind of accounting issue, says Nico Partners analyst Daniel Ahmed. In an internal email, sent to staff and verified by VGC, Ubisoft CEO Frederick Duguet did not provide an explanation for the halt in trading beyond avoiding unnecessary speculation and market volatility during the delay. Hello, everyone. I wanted to let you know that we're taking extra time to finalize the closing of the semester. And as a result, we will be publishing our first half earning results in the coming days instead of tonight. Due to legal regulations, we cannot share more information with you at this time. To limit unnecessary speculation and market volatility during the short delay, we have asked Euronext to suspend the trading of our stock until the results are announced. We know this is likely to raise questions and drive media coverage. I encourage you to listen to the conference call, which will be available via the investor section of our site just after results are released, so you'll have a more detailed view of our earnings. The news is the latest in an eventful period for Ubisoft, which last month opened a subsidiary part owned by Tencent Vantage Studios, which will now oversee its biggest franchises, including Assassin's Creed. So this is interesting because it can be a very big thing.
Yeah.
And it could be absolutely nothing.
Yeah, and also it could be a very big thing in many different ways. Like, I don't want to get too hyperbolic here, but just to give people a sense of how big this could be, it could be an acquisition. It could also be that their business is doing terribly and they have to sort of close down parts of the business. You know,
Yeah.
it's like this could be massive, but as Daniel Ahmed, I believe, rightfully says, this could also just be down to one bit of paper on the accounts being wrong or one tiny bit of data being wrong, and therefore they have to go back and redo everything, make sure it's all correct, and do it again, right? However, I would say that because this is so rare and because it's involving a company that we know have been looking for investors and a different way of doing things, I would not be shocked at all if this is some kind of acquisition. Like, I really wouldn't be shocked. Although I think it would be strange if there's an acquisition after they've just transferred their biggest IPs to a new subsidiary part owned by another company anyway.
And especially like 15 minutes before the call.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of suspicious as well.
It leads you to think that something happened where they've gone, oh, we have to wait. Like that's it's almost like it makes me think of the when you look at like the Microsoft Activision Blizzard thing, right? It makes me think of that because we know that in that acquisition, one of the things that happened was Bobby Kotick was kind of listening to offers and he tried to offer it out to Meta at one point and no one really came in for it. And then apparently there was a phone call from Bobby or between Bobby and Phil. There was some sort of correspondence between Bobby Kotick and Phil Spencer. And literally within like 3 days or so after that call, it was like, oh, okay, this offer has been made, and then history, you know, the rest is history at that point. But that's what I'm saying. It almost reminds me of something like that. Of like, did they get a phone call from someone half an hour before going, do you know what, we'll buy your company for $9 billion? Do you know what I mean? You don't know. Like, you genuinely
We'll
do
buy
not
your
know.
company if you stop producing Just Dance.
So it's going to be interesting to see when they release these results. I think that, I expect their results to be reasonably good. Like, yes, this is Q2, but Assassin's Creed Shadows seems to have had an uptick again. Like, people are talking about that on social media a lot more recently again. And I think that there are people picking it up because it's on sale as well. So I'm interested to see. I'm gonna be keeping an eye on this stuff, and obviously, if there is any major news of a takeover or something like that, we will be sure to cover it on the website. So make sure you stay tuned to analogstickgaming.com for any updates on this news as and when it comes. But what do we have up next, Jeff?
All righty, let me bring it up here. Valve has announced 3 new products: a new VR headset called Steam Frame, a new controller called the Steam Controller, and a console-like unit called the Steam Machine. Valve says its plans to ship all 3 products in the same regions they currently ship the Steam Deck. They will start shipping in early 2026 with a specific launch timing and pricing to be confirmed later. We've been super happy with the success of the Steam Deck, and PC gamers have continued asking for even more ways to play all the great titles in their Steam libraries. Our work over the years on other hardware, and even more importantly on SteamOS, has enabled Steam Controller, Steam Machine, and Steam Frame to do just that. The Steam Machine is a 6-inch console-like cube with over 6 times the horsepower of the Steam Deck, which is designed to allow PC games to be played on the TV. Valve promises it will offer 4K gaming at 60 FPS with FSR, thanks to a discrete semi-custom AMD desktop class CPU and GPU. It also claims the Steam Machine keeps cool and runs whisper quiet even while running the most demanding games. Finally, the Steam Frame is a streaming-first virtual reality headset which can be played wirelessly, similar to the MetaQuest headsets. It also comes with 2 handheld controllers, which also look similar to those for the Quest. The headset comes with a USB plug and plays 6 GHz wireless adapter, a plug-and-play 6 GHz wireless adapter, which Valve says provides a dedicated link for both VR and non-VR streaming. The adapter contains dual radios, one for audio and visuals, and one for connecting to Wi-Fi, which Valve says makes the connection more stable. And finally, Valve says the devices use foveated streaming, which means it uses eye tracking to optimize detail where the player is looking, leading to what it claims is over 10 times improvement in image quality and effective bandwidth. So this is Valve kind of entering the console market.
They're
even though the Steam Machine is not a console, it's a platform because it is not its own proprietary thing. But still, this puts you got to figure that they are going to price this thing very competitively.
Well, I mean, they have to. So, to give you, obviously, I'm quite technically minded, and I also tune into a lot of technical-minded channels on YouTube and things like that. And we've talked them up before, but I love Digital Foundry, and they actually managed to get hands-on with this machine. They sent one of their colleagues there to Valve to see it and all these other things. But this Steam Machine, from what I'm understanding, is slightly less capable than the Series X and PS5, but much more capable than the Series S. And I think that given the versatility of a cube that has a console-like interface but can be used as a PC if you need to,
yeah,
if they price it right, this thing could be a huge success.
Yeah, like if I would assume honestly that they're probably going to price it at $600 US.
Yeah, I think so. But it's like Because when I saw it, I thought to myself, oh, maybe Jeff can get one of these and then he can finally review PC games. Like, because there's some games that are only on PC, right?
Yeah, or that the codes are just tremendously easier to get and quicker as well. Not to mention you don't have to worry about online stuff, because there's PlayStation stuff that I could have got a code for, but I don't have PlayStation Plus because it's just an unnecessary expense for me.
So I think that I'm excited by this machine. I have a couple of concerns about it. Firstly, Valve have done a Steam machine before, although it was different because the previous Steam machine, they basically teamed up with third-party companies and had them making the hardware, and therefore Valve had less control over what the Steam machine actually was.
Yeah, and it was
and it was genuinely terrible. Like it was not good, and it didn't last long. But this, after the relative success of the Steam Deck, because let's be honest, the Steam Deck has been quite successful, but maybe not as successful as some people might have expected. And I think that part of the reason for that is because after it proved that there was a market for that kind of machine, it ended up getting a lot of competition, right? And some of the competitive devices to the Steam Deck are definitely better devices, even if they do cost considerable more money.
Yeah. See, I think with like the Steam machine and stuff, it'd be neat if almost like, and again, like this is just obviously that's what a PC is. If they had it where like certain things slotted in and out, so if you wanted a faster GPU or a faster graphics card, you could buy that.
So almost like if they made it modular where you could upgrade it over time, or even if they did something that I think they did with the Steam Deck where you could technically get like a GPU cage that would connect to it via a USB cable, and then you could plug in a GPU externally and give the Steam Deck more graphics power. So, like, there are ways to do things like that. It'll be interesting to see. One thing I found interesting is the timing of this, given that we know at this point it's pretty much been confirmed Microsoft's next console is also a similar kind of device to what this Steam machine is going to be. And I find the timing quite interesting, and the fact that the reaction to this Steam machine has been so different to the reaction to, oh, Microsoft's now doing this, and everyone goes, oh, it's terrible.
Can you imagine if Microsoft says like, hey, our next console is going to be a collaboration between us and Steam, and it just becomes this like home PC type of thing, and then like it's everything you love about Steam, but it's the money backed by Microsoft, it's the tech backed by Microsoft.
Well, what I find most interesting about this is like, I think, and I'm not trying to put Steam down here, because I do think that this machine could be very successful, right? As the Steam machine in particular, I think quite frankly, I think the controller is something and nothing. I think most people aren't going to care about that controller. The VR headset, I think, will have its own audience, and it being able to be completely wireless and things, I think, is a nice touch. And it sounds like they have some cool tech in there that isn't available in any of the other headsets. So there could be a massive improvement there. But to me, when I think about it, I just think which one of these things has the most wide appeal? And it is the Steam machine, right? Because even I am considering getting one for my downstairs room to put behind my television and and just kind of have a controller that I can connect to it, because they did confirm you can use any peripherals you want on it, so you'll be able to use an Xbox controller or any other mouse and keyboard and things like that. So I can see this at the right price. I can see this being the thing that people who want a gaming PC but can't really afford a gaming PC,
and you could technically have
might get
Game
this
Pass for
instead.
PC because you would just load Windows in.
Precisely, and they've said that as well. Like, you can use this as a PC. Like, when you go onto the write-up of it, that they say, like, it will run all of your favorite apps you need. You could technically use it for video editing, photo editing, all that kind of stuff. And I think that we're starting to realize, I don't know whether it's because there's been a huge uptick in the PC gaming space in recent years, but I think that both as consumers, but the companies servicing those consumers as well, both sides of that equation seem to be starting to realize that actually devices that offer you the choice of doing as many things as possible are kind of the way to go now. Like, we don't want bespoke devices anymore. We want one device that can do everything, and I do think that that's why we see Microsoft heading the way they're heading as well. And it's going to be interesting to see comparatively, because obviously we're expecting this Steam machine to come out sometime in 2026, probably early 2026, if I was to guess, like first half. And then we're expecting whatever Microsoft is doing next to come out the following year. What I find interesting, as an interesting tidbit of news to kind of, which I do think is relevant to this in some ways, is Microsoft have also done a thing recently where they have publicly published their criteria to get games basically onto their platform for the first time. So all indie developers, like how Steam does, you can figure out what you need to do to get a game onto the platform without even having to contact them, right? Like, all of the information is available publicly. So Microsoft, for the first time, has also done this now. So they're taking leaves out of Steam's book, right? They're learning from Steam, because they're going, if we're going to do this thing where we're basically going to become a PC, then we need to learn from the best, right? And Steam is the best. I think that what Steam have got right at the moment is, and look, it remains to be seen, because they could wildly overprice this thing, but given the history of Steam and Gabe Newell,
you just the Steam Deck.
Yeah, you just don't imagine they would do that, because I think that at the end of the day, they know that this machine isn't going to be for everybody. They know that it, by the time it comes out, it will essentially be built on underpowered hardware, but will still be able to provide a good experience for a lot of people. Like, let me put it this way to you, Jeff. If they come out and they say this thing is $500 American, right? Which I do think is possible. But if they say, if someone had said to you the other day, "Oh, do you know what, Jeff? You're going to be able, don't buy a console, because in a year's time you're going to be able to buy a machine that is pretty much as powerful as your console, but will do everything your laptop does, and will allow you to play games from both the companies on them as well, like, for the same price-ish." Yeah. I imagine you would be interested in that, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, because it'd be pretty much priced the same much as like a Switch 2. It'd be like, if it was $500 US, that's 700 Canadian.
Yeah, so I think that if they get the price right, I really do think this could be massively successful. I don't know if you feel the same, Jeff, but that's where I
I
stand on
think
it.
Valve will undercut it for sure because they make an absolute ton of money through the Steam store. So I mean, like they can afford to take that
And
cost.
this would push more people towards the Steam store, right? Like if you're someone who doesn't really play on PC, like for example, I always tell people this story, right? I'll look at my Steam library right now because as you know, I've always played some games on Steam, but being not being mostly a console gamer up until around sort of May last year, I only had 33 games in my Steam library. And yes, I'm fortunate that I get lots of games these days for free, but I don't get all these games for free, okay? Could you guess a number, Jeff, of how
445.
many? How many?
445.
That's closer than I thought you'd be. I now have 496 games in my Steam library. So in a year and a half, I have either purchased or got access to through the work that I do 460-ish games on Steam, right? And I would say that I've purchased at least half of those, if not
Yeah.
more.
I have
Okay.
114.
And you think of how much money that is. Like even if okay, yes, Steam do great sales, and I did buy many of those games on sale. But even if you average that to something like $30 per game, like 30 American dollars per game, and take what Steam's percentage would be, they make so much money out of their storefront. Like like it's why Valve stopped making games because they didn't need to make games anymore.
Yeah.
Like they made so much money that they can just do whatever they want now. They
If they
basically have
they
a
could
money printing
legitimately
machine.
make Half-Life 3 and have that as a launch title for the Steam machine and have it bundled with the Steam machine.
Oh my god, that would be amazing, wouldn't it?
You know,
That
you
would.
have the consoles like five. You put the game in there. It's like 600
Do you know
USD.
what? If they did that, I would buy it just because of that. like, I'll be real. I would buy it just because of that. I will say before we move on from this news story, actually, with the Steam Frame, which is the new VR headset they're doing, I might pick up that as well. And the one reason I might pick that up is because I want to play Half-Life Alyx. And you obviously need a PC VR headset for that, okay?
Yeah.
However, I've got so many cables in my PC already that I don't really want another mass of cables coming out to use a VR headset. So actually having something that has a bespoke wireless dongle that has its own form of wireless, so it will only interact with the headset,
Yeah.
and have it be fully wireless, and you can play other games on it as well. But I may pick one of those up. Again, it will all depend on price.
Yeah.
But I can imagine them doing, if they're clever, with all of these hardware, I would imagine coming out around the same time, they'll do some good bundles. They'll do you can get the Steam Frame and the Steam machine for X amount of money,
Yeah,
and
for like
maybe you save
$1,500
$100 or
USD or
something.
something. Because the index was like $1,000 with all the bells and whistles.
Yes, yeah. So it's going to
Most
be
people.
interesting to see, and I'm definitely looking forward to that. I think that more hardware in the gaming space is never a bad thing because, quite frankly, we want competition, right? We want competition. We want a healthy gaming space. But unfortunately, we don't always have a healthy gaming space because what's happened recently, Jeff?
Tomb Raider developer Crystal Dynamics has announced another round of layoffs, which is at least its fourth in 2 years. Announcing the new projects, the news on Thursdays, announcing the news on Thursday, The studio said that around 30 people across various departments and projects have lost their jobs as it restructures the company and business for our next generation. The studio claimed the cuts have come part of reorganization designed to optimize the continued development of our flagship Tomb Raider game, as well as shaping the rest of the studio to make new games for the future. It said Crystal deeply thanks all of those impacted for their incredible talent, hard work, and dedication, which helped shape the studio in so many ways. We are committed to offering our fullest resources and support to you during this transition. So, like, this is, like what Crystal Dynamics was also working on, what, Perfect Dark with Microsoft, right? That was them?
Yes, it was. Yes.
So they suddenly lose this big project, and then they bring everybody back on because I think, are they the developer on the Amazon's Tomb Raider game?
They are, yeah, because they made the
So
Tomb Raider trilogy as well.
yeah, so I think that has a lot to do with it as well because like they haven't really had a good couple years because like they were I think the development studio on Guardians of the Galaxy.
No, so that was Eidos Montreal.
That was Eidos Montreal. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, so what have they done here? So Crystal
So they helped out on one of the other Xbox projects as well, I believe.
Yeah, so
they
got
obviously
the Tomb Raider remastered.
They made Avengers. They made Avengers.
Oh, Marvel's Avengers. That's what it was. I knew it was some type of thing. So like, yeah, so they haven't really had anything in the last couple of years because they had Marvel's Avengers in 2020, and then they had Tomb Raider 1 to 3 remastered, Tomb Raider 4 to 6 remastered, and then Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver 1 and 2 remastered. So they haven't had like an actual like developed game since Marvel's Avengers.
Yes.
And then they lose the Perfect Dark thing, so Microsoft decides to kibosh that, and now they're just working on the Tomb Raider game. So yeah, I can understand why they probably would have let some people go because they were
Well, you have to scale back, right? When you lose, quite frankly, and this is why I always say it, but yes, layoffs suck, but they happen in every industry because quite frankly, it's like Jeff. Jeff does a day job, right? But if they say to Jeff, do you know what, Jeff, we're not going to get as many deliveries anymore, so we don't need as many people. Sorry, bye.
Texting me. Oh, I've just been let go.
Like,
no, I'm kidding.
Like, do you know what I mean, though? Like, at the end of the day, businesses can only hire you if they actually have a job for you to do. And if they've lost a project or funding for something, which means they no longer really have a job for you, I know it sounds horrible, but why are they going to continue paying you to do a job on a different project that someone else is already doing? Because that's inflating the cost of another project.
It just becomes these redundancies. It's the same thing when you have an acquisition merger. Do you need 2 people doing esports management? No.
Precisely. So it does suck. And look, layoffs always suck. But at the end of the day, in some cases, you can completely understand it. And this is one of those. Like you said, they've lost.
For me, it's 30 people, right? I still think that they could find something, for 30 people. If it was like 300 people, like say like they had 300 people working on Perfect Dark and they had more than what they needed on Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
Do you just put them on another project then? Like, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's I guess it's all about how much funding you have though, right? Like if they now only have enough budget to do that Tomb Raider game and they've already got a team on that.
Yeah.
They're not, when these other, like when Perfect Dark got cancelled, and we know, like, so we don't know exactly how many people were working on Perfect Dark, but one thing we do know is that Crystal Dynamics actually made up the majority of that team because the initiative became more like a leadership team than a actual studio. They essentially became a creative leadership team rather than a traditional game studio.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those things where like that project was finished. They obviously tried to get funding. They almost got funding independently to continue that project, and it's a shame that that didn't work out.
Mm-hmm.
But they've had and then going back to like Marvel's Avengers, that game was not a success. And I don't blame them for that. I think they were forced to make a kind of game that they didn't want to make. And I think they were forced to make a live service game when they would have probably preferred just to make a really cool single player Marvel's Avengers game.
Yeah. Or even just like something that just had general co-op, like it wasn't meant to be like this live service thing, because like that's people just didn't want that.
Yeah, because quite frankly, as much as people pour on that game and take the mick out of it, there were good aspects to that video game.
Yeah, like the single player campaign, like the major campaign, like it had its moments. It was actually good. Like some of the stuff was great, but Guardians of the Galaxy came out. It got the brunt of the hate that Marvel's Avengers had and didn't critically or sort of commercially do well because people were just assuming it was another Marvel's Avengers.
Even though it was actually a much better game.
And it was drastically better than Marvel's Avengers. So I mean, like Marvel's Avengers had that knock-on effect of like really sabotaging the Marvel name despite any type of quality.
Well, let's be quite frank. Marvel's Avengers was probably the reason that Square Enix sold their Western studios. They sold Crystal Dynamics and Eidos Montreal, and they let IO go independent and all these things. All of this probably happened as a result of the failure of Marvel's Avengers. And I'm not putting that on Crystal themselves, because I don't think they are.
It was a domino effect of bad leadership and bad direction.
Yeah. But I think that what happens as a result of that is you hurt the studio. The studio have gone into several other projects that either are with leadership that is newer to the industry, like Amazon Games, right? They've done some decent things, but they are a newer entity within the industry. So therefore, their Tomb Raider game is probably going to take a bit longer than it might for a more experienced company driving that project, right?
Yeah.
Then you had, like we said, Perfect Dark being cancelled. That's a massive thing. I do know that Crystal was helping on another Xbox project as well, but I can't remember which one that it was. But they definitely helped on another project as well, because them and Eidos Montreal were both working on two projects. Because Eidos did Grounded 2, and they're also helping out on Fable. But I think Crystal had 2 as well, and obviously Perfect Dark got cancelled. But yeah, I would just say that I'm not really shocked by these layoffs. I think that they're within the reasonable amount as well, quite frankly. Like, if I worked at a studio, and look, I've done some development work in the past, but if I worked at a studio and they said to me, do you know what? I'm really sorry, but our funding has been cut. This project is finished, and we don't have a place for you anymore. I'd be a little bit upset to lose my job, of course, but I would still understand it, because ultimately these things happen, and I'd rather that it was only 30 people than them try and keep these 30 people on, leading to them then having to get rid of 100 people later down the line because they have let's say that they had kept these people on, inflating the cost of Tomb Raider, right? Because they have extra people working on it, and then Tomb Raider doesn't do well. What happens then? Do you see what I mean? So actually, by them making these cuts now, yes, it sucks, but they're potentially they're lowering the pressure on other projects that they have. Whereas we've seen it many, many times. Like, can you imagine, and this will never happen, right? But can you imagine what would happen if GTA 6 comes out and Rockstar find out that, do you know what, this is actually like a cyberpunk style mess? Do you know what I mean? Like, if it comes out and it's that much of a mess that the majority of people who buy it then refund it and they have to mass refund things, like, yeah, Rockstar's not going to die because they're Rockstar, but I guarantee you they'd end up having to let go of hundreds of people, right? And so it's kind of the same thing. Like, them making these cuts now is helping probably to protect other people's jobs in the future. Whereas if they hadn't have made these cuts and then they had something fail in the future, they'd then have to let go of even more people because they'd be in a bigger money pit, right? They'd be in a bigger money hole there and it would be a bigger problem. So I don't know, maybe I'm just being realistic, but are you with me on that, Jeff? Like, does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, there's like contingencies essentially on how to kind of manage their ROI. So
Yes.
like, yeah, I mean, they definitely have to make cuts and stuff. And again, like redundancies can be the result of a lot of these types of layoffs and stuff. But yeah, I mean, they lost a big project. I mean, we've seen that before where like, you know, there was a team before that was going to make a big game through Saudi Arabia funding, and then Saudi pulled out, and then the company went up. I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember who it was, but yeah, we've definitely seen things like that before. You know, there's always things like this, and it does suck. I'm not saying it doesn't suck. I want to be very clear about that. But I do think that the same thing I said earlier about the crunch culture in gaming and things like that, I think that to a certain extent, people, whether that be games media or just the general public, need to accept that these things happen. Like, layoffs happen in every single industry in the world. But do we see them reported in the news every single time? No, because they're part of business and they're part of life. It's how the world functions. Yes, it sucks for those people, and I hope the best for all of them. But why do we harp so much on, oh, this is massive news all of the time? It's just like, let's just accept that this, you know, it's so weird to me, our fascination within the gaming space of, oh, this company's laying off staff, so it must mean they're going out of business, or it must mean these really terrible things. And it's like, no, companies, literally every company you can think of in the world, right? We have a huge supermarket chain over here called Asda, right, which is kind of like Walmart, for example.
Yeah.
And they have hundreds of stores across the country here, but I guarantee you they let go of thousands of people every year. Like, every year across all their stores, they let go of thousands of people. But we never hear about it because nobody cares, because people accept that in that job it's part of life. So why don't people accept that? I know why. I know what you're going to say, Jeff. But my question is, why don't people accept that within gaming, it's still part of life? Like, these are still businesses, and these things are always going to happen.
How passionate you are about your hobbies. No one's passionate about a grocery store. You know?
Very true. Very true.
So like they don't really care. Like, no one cares. Like, oh, hey, Ford, you know, let go of 26,000 employees. No one cares because, like, yeah, they love their truck and stuff, but they don't care about the development aspect of it. Yeah. Whereas game development is such an interesting type of thing because it's a creative business. Whereas, like, if you're building like a grocery store or vehicle or whatever, it's a computer automated system. It's all these other types of things.
Very true.
Very true. You know,
I guess it's almost like a more personalized business, right? Because we are we're playing the art of these people.
Yeah, because
And
it's generally a hobby
that's the thing.
that you like. People like they like seeing how the sausage is made in certain fields, essentially.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
there, I think no one really, really cares about certain aspects of how certain things are produced. But when it comes to video games, it's such an interesting type of thing
Yeah, very true. Very
that is
true.
entwined in people's lives because
And
it
I
is
also think
a hobby.
another major part of it is probably the fact that in the games industry, yes, okay, they're taking massive risks, but when they make money, these companies make so much money that they can afford to not cut these people when they lose a bit of money, right?
Yeah, and there's also like the names attached to certain things and stuff like that, right?
Mhm.
Because like I don't think anyone in the entire world knows like the names behind certain businesses. Like
Yeah, true.
you get the big people like people like like Gucci and stuff like that. Like they know the people that are at the top of that, but
Yeah.
no one cares about the distribution
Yeah.
partner guy or the person that's in charge of
Yeah,
making the
because it's
bags.
less
Like
personalized, right?
yeah, because no one cares.
Whereas like for it's like even for us, like sometimes we'll have PR contacts and stuff that move on, and it's like, oh, that sucks. I really liked working with you. Like,
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? So I do, and I'm not saying I don't get it. I'm just saying that I wish we would get to some sort of point where we can at least understand and accept. And I think we do, and I think most people with common sense seem to. But I think that we need to accept that not all layoffs are bad, and sometimes the layoffs might actually be for the greater good. um, so yeah, but I think that's it for the news today, right, Jeff?
pretty much.
Fair enough. Well, should we get to what we've been playing then? I
Sure.
believe if people are seeing the thumbnail, they should see one thing you've been playing, which I'll bring up right now and you can talk about. We've got this gameplay from a YouTube channel, and the channel is called, before I bring it up, it's Hack Attack 04082. I will link their channel below so you can actually go and watch their full gameplay of the demo of this game. But here we go, Jeff, and I'm about to press play.
Yeah. So
What
this
have you
is
been playing?
SpongeBob SquarePants: Titans of the Tide. This is made by Purple Lamp Studios, the same team that made the Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated remaster. They also did the Cosmic Shake, and so this is without question the best SpongeBob game I think anyone has ever made. But that comes with some caveats, and that is because Cosmic Shake was very good. It did a lot of things extremely better than Rehydrated. They Purple Lamp Studio showed that they could make an original SpongeBob game and really deliver the goods. They got the entire voice cast. It felt like a SpongeBob property. Now, Titans of the Tide has some issues, and that is because this is really nothing more than a direct continuation of Cosmic Shake in every regard. So it has the same combat system, it has the same platforming, it has the same everything. Now they've taken some things out because you can play as Patrick. So they remove some stuff from SpongeBob, but then they give things to Patrick. So if you want to skip ahead a little bit just to get past like the dialogue stuff, maybe jump ahead like a minute or two. Yeah, probably right there. So everybody can still glide around. You have the same combat system. The camera's pulled back a lot more, as you can see. Like it's not so close to the characters, so it gives you a little bit more field to kind of work around. So what we're seeing right now is the ramifications of a war between the Flying Dutchman and King Neptune. So basically, the Krusty Krab had a half-price burger promotion or something, and the Flying Dutchman was trying to get in to get a burger, but he wanted to skip the line because he figured he was important. And they're told him, nope, back of the line. So then it goes 3 hours later, and then he basically is at near the front of the line, and then King Neptune comes in, led by Krusty Krab, and he gets front of line access. So this causes a war between the Flying Dutchman and King Neptune, and the Flying Dutchman turns SpongeBob into a ghost. If you want to skip ahead maybe 3-4 minutes, and just to where we can get to, yeah, right there. And so they use their BFF rings to swap the ghost powers between them. So it becomes this like switching of, like if you're in mid jump, you can switch. And if you're doing certain things, you can switch. So it allows the characters to kind of like have different things. SpongeBob can use his bubble powers to activate switches. Patrick can burrow underneath the sand, because if you ever see an actual starfish, they like to burrow under the sand. And they get to perform a lot of interesting platform mechanics because of these types of mechanics. And you can use switches to make things ghostly, and then you can pass through them and then make them solid. And sometimes you have to do that in mid jump. So there'll be like 5 platforms. It'll be solid, ghost, and you have to go solid, hit the switch, solid, hit the switch, solid. And it really plays extremely well. Now, the best quality of this game is its story and its focus on the story. Because in Cosmic Shake, it felt like you had a beginning, you had a middle, and you had an end. And they just put random shit in between all of that.
I agree.
Here, this feels like you're literally playing through a SpongeBob movie. It's got a beginning, it's got a setup to the middle, it's got a setup to the end, and it pays everything off by keeping the story focused on what's happening. There are side quests, things you can do, but there's never anything that pulls you directly away from the actual story. And that's one thing that is this game's strongest element, is it plays exactly like a 3D SpongeBob movie. And that's something that I cannot say for the Cosmic Shake.
Well, that's good to hear, because that was one of my biggest problems with Cosmic Shake, was like, it just, there was a story there, but they took you away from it too often.
Yeah,
with like
it felt
random
like you were
stuff.
a bunch of random shit that would eventually lead into it. Here, everything you're doing. So you're on the flying Krusty Krab. So it's the Krusty Krab has been destroyed by ghostly apparitions and all that kind of stuff. And so you're on the flying Krusty Krab, and you basically then go to like King Neptune's castle for a gala where you have to like dress Patrick up as a merman so that he can get into the VIP lounge to warn King Neptune that the Flying Dutchman is coming for him. And the problem with this game is it borrows way too much from the Cosmic Shake. It has the same sliding levels, it has the same boulder running, it has the same surfboard stuff. There's not a new type of alternative method of transportation in this game that isn't already present in Cosmic Shake. Now, they got rid of the second currency, so you're not collecting the little like pink jelly dots or anything. You're just collecting cash, and that gets you cosmetic things on the ship. It gets you new outfits and all that kind of stuff. But it feels like Titans of the Tide is, they took all of the criticism that they had with the Cosmic Shake, and they built a SpongeBob game around those criticisms, but they didn't add anything new except for the ghostly jumping and swapping and stuff, which makes up a good chunk of the game, but you're still seeing the same things that are not those things. So everything that is not the ghost stuff you saw in Cosmic Shake. And now they reference the Cosmic Shake in this game, which is pretty funny, because you run into Cassandra and they talk about, you know, her involvement in the Cosmic Shake. So it is this continuity that's building. But when they make another SpongeBob game, I don't want the boulder running, I don't want the sliding, I don't want the surfboard, I want new things.
Yeah, that's fair.
You know?
That's fair.
And that's honestly my only criticism on the game, is that it borrows too much and feels like a continuation of the Cosmic Shake than a sequel.
Yeah, that's fair. That's definitely fair. Well, I'm good. You know, I'm glad to hear all of those things, and it does make me sort of interested to potentially play this game, because I enjoyed elements of Cosmic Shake, but it was that randomness and that kind of feeling of.
So you still have the karate kick coming up here, where he like jumps and then does that. So it's the same thing. The only thing that they removed progressive traversal wise is you're not swinging off those hooks anymore. That's completely gone.
Interesting. But yeah, I might at some point I might play this for sure. I mean, like I said, I have a soft spot for SpongeBob.
See,
Like,
I never watched it growing up at all.
oh, interesting,
Like I know it
interesting.
through memes, I know it through cultural osmosis, I know it through that kind of stuff, and like I've never
Yeah,
seen the movies or anything, but they
that's
did
fair.
such a good job with this game. I just want more originality out of the assets that are in here because it just
Yes.
feels like they just pulled everything from Cosmic Shake. And like even this level here is almost a replication of like the seaside resort that they had in the previous game.
Yes. Yeah. I understand that.
But it's still very good.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that you've enjoyed it and that it's a what you would call the best SpongeBob game anyone's ever made.
Yeah,
That's definitely high
it is that
praise.
good. It just needs to be a little bit more original in what it's pulling from.
Yeah. That's fair. Well, shall I tell you something I've played that's very, very good, shall I?
Do it.
I have played here we go, I'll bring it up. Do you know what this is, Jeff? It's
This
called Dispatch.
yeah.
It is a Telltale like game
Oh,
that
that looks like the
is
guy from Peacemaker that eats Cheetos.
that is very comic book like and adult themed. Um, and I genuinely love it. I actually would praise it so highly as to say it's the best Telltale style game that I've ever played.
Yeah, like I've seen bits of gameplay and stuff, and so like the guy that's being hugged right now by the janitor or whatever, he's the descendant of a superhero line where his grandfather and his father and his father and then all that stuff,
Yes.
and
Yes.
his suit gets crippled to the point where he is in financial difficulty of keeping that hero alive. She comes to him with a deal of saying like, hey, join us for the dispatch and we will help fund your ability to get back in the superhero game.
Yeah, yeah. So that's the basic setup of the story. There's quite a cool sort of opening scene that you play before that I won't
Yes.
spoil. The game's made up of 8 episodes that were released over a number of weeks, but I actually played all 8 episodes in 2 different sittings across 2 days. And it took me exactly 8 hours to finish. So it's about an
Not too
hour
bad.
per episode. Um, but it's honestly like I love this game, and the reason I love the game is you can see it right here. It basically looks like an anime, right? It looks like some sort
Yeah.
of
When I was watching like some of the beginning parts and stuff, and there was the one of the first scenes that Laura Bailey, who plays the character in the background there, who was kind of pitched it, is they showed this scene of her and him sitting on this billboard just shooting shit and having a conversation, and there's a lot of misdirection of like what he's thinking this is about, and she's being kind of coy about inviting him into this type of stuff. And you when you're watching that stuff, it literally feels like you're just watching like a very highly produced Netflix series,
yeah,
you know, and it feels like that way, but you've got your choices, and a lot of them have extreme ramifications and callbacks to other previous episodes. Like if you're in episode 6, there'll be something that happens in episode 1 or something, or episode 2. Same with like
yeah.
flambe, whether or not pour alcohol on him or pour water on him, it has ramifications as it goes on.
Yes. Yeah. So there and something it's showing you here,
That's
which is
voiced
what I
critical. That guy at the bat.
it is, yeah.
And it's got a lot of voice talent, like Aaron Paul is in it, Laura
Mhm.
Bailey. You've got Alana
Alana
Pierce,
Pierce,
and I like the thing with
Travis
Alana
Willingham.
Pierce is Malavia, I think is her name or whatever, or
Yes.
something like
Hmm.
that. They actually allowed her to pick the last name of the character. So when she says like, "Oh, my name is like Malavia Gibb," Gibb was
Yes.
the last name of her stepfather, which was really
Yes.
interesting.
Yeah. Um, but so there's a few things I really like about this game. Obviously, being a Telltale style game, you're making dialogue choices, and you can also, when you're in the game setup, you can choose to play it in cinematic style or with QTEs. So
Yeah.
what? And I played with the QTEs because I wanted to make it more engaging and be more engaged in the gameplay from moment to moment. But there's another part of this game entirely, which is the actual dispatching. Okay. And basically, what it means is you're working in a call center, imagine like a police call center, where you get these calls of these crimes are going on in the city, and you have to choose which one of your superhero team to send off to each of these crimes based on the skills required to
Yeah.
basically, stop the crime from happening.
You don't send somebody who's really blunt. You send somebody who
Yeah.
has people skills.
And as you get your heroes to complete crimes, one of the things that happens, if I pull it forward here a bit, is it will show you your skills here. That's combat, that's vigor, and there's all these different, and these hints basically let you know what you need without actually telling you what you need.
Yeah.
And you have to think like, okay, who am I going to send? And as you solve these crimes throughout the episodes, your heroes actually level up, and you can send them on little training things, and they gain new skills. And you have one hero that eventually can basically create a hologram of another hero, so you can send two heroes into a 3-hero crime and boost your stats that way. There's lots of interesting things you can do with it. But while you're doing this stuff, it's not just some little mini game. There are conversations going on, and they will talk about your character Robert, who you play as, Robert Robertson.
I love the name. And they even make a joke too. They're like, oh, he was like Robbie, and this guy was like Rob, whatever, and now I'm Robert, because I wanted to make it sound mature.
And yeah, it's just. But the thing that really, for me, sets this game apart is it's not afraid to be adult themed, and that doesn't mean it's not vulgar at any point or anything like that. But there is swearing. There's some
believability to not hold back and make it feel realistic. If someone goes like fucking hell, whatever, like that, it makes sense.
It makes it feel a lot more human, right? It makes it feel a lot more human, and some of the things they say, this is the only Telltale style game that I've ever played where I genuinely was laughing out loud every few minutes, because and I want to play it again just to see the other things that can happen.
Could have been I mean, you get all these characters and stuff that are obviously made for this thing. It's not adapted from anything that I know of. But I mean, can you imagine a Watchmen game that was like this?
I know, yeah. And for a little bit of because this game isn't available on Xbox right now, but that's because the studio that made it, Ad Hoc Studio, I believe they're called, made up of former Telltale developers and a few developers formerly of Ubisoft, actually. Came together to make this studio, but this game was originally in development as a live action style game. And then because of the COVID pandemic, the studio almost went out of business, and they got funding to finish the game from Critical Role, but they had limited funding, which is why there's no Xbox version right now.
Yeah, they said they're exploring other options. So they'll this will come to Xbox, this will come to Switch too.
Yeah, it will, and because this game sold 1 million copies already, and I know that Jeff, you weren't, because when we originally spoke about this, you were like, "Oh, I'm not sure I'm in the mood for that kind of game right now," and then literally the second I played it, I wanted to play this whole thing in one sitting.
I watched Jeff Grubb play. The first hour or something like that, and then watching little bits and pieces of Alana playing, because I didn't want to see too much of what was going on. Yeah. And then I ended up getting some Xbox reward dollars, and I had $10 off. I'm like, oh hey, I'm gonna buy Dispatch, and I went on the store and it wasn't there. I was like, well, shit.
Yeah, and that really sucks, because this game, I will tell you now, and I don't know where I'm gonna place it, but it'll be in my top 10, and it will most likely be in my top 5.
It'll be your number 3. I'm calling it right now.
it's gonna be hot because I think this game has the best writing and best performances I've seen all year, and that's saying
It's an
something because
amazing cast. I mean, really. I
like
mean, you have the Critical Role guys who are made up of a lot of prominent voice actors. Laura
you
Bailey
have
being,
you
you know,
have Jacksepticeye in here, you have Moist Critical, you have Alana Pierce, Aaron Paul, um,
I'm surprised they didn't get like
Jeffrey something, I can't remember his name. Jeffrey
I'm
Wright.
surprised they didn't get Raul Coley in there as well too.
I know it's genuinely an amazing, amazing cast, and the interactions between them, but
And
also them with the character that
yeah,
you play
Aaron
as.
Paul has
Is
been trying to
brilliant.
get into video games for years, apparently.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Apparently he's a big fan of games, right? So
yeah,
it doesn't surprise me. But his performance is actually amazing in this
and
game.
are they actually doing an animated series? Was that confirmed that they actually are?
So I don't know if they are, but I think they said there have been discussions about it. And what I will say is if they do, I will absolutely be watching it. Like absolutely without question, because this is genuinely the world they've crafted here is amazing. Like and the cast of characters they've given you is incredible. And the other thing is, I felt like every single choice I made had a massive impact on the story I was seeing.
Yeah,
So
and
I
it's
think
getting
that,
good reviews. Like it's sitting at
like,
89 on Open Critic right now.
and I think that, when Jeff hopefully eventually does play this game at some point, I can imagine Jeff will have a very different story to the one that I've had. Like,
Yeah, like
and it,
I might end up getting it on PlayStation. I don't know because like I got to watch my funding because like Metroid's going to be coming out
of
next month,
course.
and the stuff I've heard about it is making me question whether or not I want to buy it.
Wow. Wow.
Well, apparently she's got like a sidekick who is like
I've
a
heard that,
talking
yeah.
guy going, "Hey, yeah, there's a robot over there. I'm going to call it Betsy."
But what I would say is if you're someone who and I will be doing a full written review on this game on Analog Stick Gaming eventually. Right now I am busy with a couple of other things. I'm trying to finish, so I have to finish my full written review of Outer Worlds 2 for the Outer Haven, and we also at the Outer Haven got a code for Call of Duty Black Ops 7, which I'm covering for them. But we'll talk more about that in a little bit. So I'll be reviewing those two things, and then this will be my next review for us, which hopefully will be out by this time next week. That's the plan. But yeah, what I would say as a quick kind of summary is if you like Telltale style, choose your own adventure, narrative driven games, this is a must play video game. Like,
And these are the
it
type
just
of games
is.
that are really good for having like a watch party over. Like you have 4 or 5 people over and you're basically watching it, and then you collectively kind of like make choices and then push the story along.
Yeah.
So they make for very good party games. I mean, Until Dawn was an incredibly well streamed game when it originally came out. So
Yeah. I genuinely I couldn't more highly recommend this game. Like, even people who don't normally like this style of game, if you like comic books or anime or anything of that nature, you should probably play this video game. Like, and at the very least, you should absolutely watch this video game. It's incredible. It really is incredible. But Jeff, let's now go back to something else you have been playing, which I should be able to get up here in a moment. So just give me a second. But you have been playing. Why don't you tell people what it is while I grab it up here?
I don't know. Are you pulling
is...
up Zelda?
We are, yes.
All right. So Age of Imprisonment. So we're pulling up some gameplay here. From what was the channel
now? The channel here, let me just check for you. Let me pause this. This channel is Shirako.
Yeah, so
Is
I've
how
watched a lot
you
of
say that?
his walkthroughs and stuff like that.
We'll
So
link
Age of
him
Calamity,
below, so make sure you check it out.
Age of Calamity is basically the moment in time in Tears of the Kingdom when Zelda goes back in time, and then you see a lot of those flashes of how she's able to kind of get back, and we know how that story ends. And so, but we don't know kind of where the story went in certain ways. We get bits and pieces, we get milestones of certain story aspects of it. And so this is made by AAA Game Studio. It's not made by Omega Force or any of the previous teams that worked on other Warriors games. So it does generally feel different in some ways. It's running really chuggy. Is that just
That's
my internet?
I
There
think
we are.
that's you. Yeah, there you go.
There we go. So this one here is if for people like, oh, I don't like Dynasty Warriors games. I don't like going to forts and saving them and blah, blah, blah. You don't do any of that. This is basically just the running and attacking aspects of it through large interconnected maps and stuff. You were never defending towers or having to back up allies and stuff. You can basically send them off to like one objective and then you can go to another objective. So we're seeing Zelda basically fight right now. She's got kind of like a wand, which I kind of joke is like a lightsaber. And she's able to use like the light energy that she's got from those secret stones, and the secret stones we are aware of in Tears of the Kingdom and what they do. And here we get to see the formation of the allies that Rauru basically picks from all the different things. It's the typical Zelda stuff. You have Zoras, you have Gorons, you have all that kind of stuff. Okay. Yeah, end with so we'll end with Call of Duty then, and then call it. Yeah, so basically you get a lot of allies here, and the only diss that I have for this game is two things. One, I don't think there's enough variety in the gameplay. We're going to see some of the variety after this fight with the boss here, but and you get a lot of allies that are never really used. Like you'll find a bunch of human guards from the Hylian forces. You'll find secondary guards from the Zora and the Garuda and all that stuff, but they never actually play into the story. So, and when I'm doing a lot of these other side objectives and side missions and stuff, they're not present as well. So it almost feels like they've loaded up the cast of characters for almost no reason. Because like there's some missions where I've only ever used them twice, in the mission that I've recruited and then a mission that follows. And as you get resources and stuff from other missions, other people's missions will open up. And then there's conversations, there's final conversation moments that you have with these characters once you've completed their side missions. The problem is the game gets very grindy because there's not a lot of variety. You end up exploring a lot of the environments that look far too similar. Like you'll fight in this general type of aesthetic, probably like 40 different fights. Interesting,
because I was just going to say that I actually think the game looks very nice.
It's gorgeous. The one thing that's sort of weird, though, is every single one of the cutscenes are a canned video. It's not in-engine.
That is weird. That's really weird.
And like it looks in-engine. Like I think it is in-engine, but I think it's not standard gameplay because when you go into the source files, it's just a whole bunch of MOV files. And that's how they do the cutscenes. It's sort of weird. But like the gameplay is nice because like a lot of the characters have a different type of variety in their gameplay. And they also have team up attacks, which are very neat. And some of them are very cool. And me and Becky were playing co-op where I was on my Switch 2 and she was on her Switch 1. And I wirelessly sent the second player data to her Switch in real time. And she was able to play the game flawlessly on the Switch 1 with me on multiplayer, even though it's a Switch 2 only title.
That's actually amazing.
And like, it ran flawlessly. That's really cool. We had no problems. There was no hiccup. There was no lag. It ran flawlessly. Wow. And yeah, it's such an amazing game. Like, so this is a video file. So this is not like running real time. Yes. And Ganon has created these enemies called Archfiends. And then basically they act as big bosses throughout the game. They're his like generals and stuff like that. And I'm at the point right now where he's kind of resurrected his generals because obviously you beat them. And then I'm in the final stages of it. Like I'm on the ship from Tears of the Kingdom, that big boat. I'm on
Okay,
that
yeah.
right now. And it uses things very, very nicely. Like it uses all of the artifacts and stuff, like all of the things where like you have the battery and then you have the power and stuff and whatnot. And this is one of his archfiends here. And if you want to skip ahead, maybe like 2 minutes,
Okay.
I'll show you where you get the variety. Yeah, right there. So there is a construct that looks like Link, and there's a reason, and I won't spoil why. And he has a little Korok buddy, and they basically have these little like Panzer Dragoon moments that are
That's
very
really
fun.
cool.
And I'm
That's
in
really
one
cool.
like literally right now towards the end, and these are a nice little moment. I wish they kind of happened more. I wish there was something a little bit more to break up some of the gameplay because a lot of the missions just feel like the same fucking thing, the same missions. Sometimes you have to go back in and reconquer a territory that's been taken, or to be like, hey, if you do 4 fights, you'll lose this territory. So you go in, save it, move on to the next thing. It opens up points on the map. You can build up your weapons, you can shop, you can build up items that you put into a camp that then give you more experience or more faster meter regeneration. But it is an absolutely stellar title. It runs flawlessly on Switch 2. Like I've never noticed a single hiccup in anything it's ever done.
Good.
But again, the only issues I have is its supporting cast is barely used, and that
That
its
is a
fights are
shame.
just a bit too repetitive. That's my only issue. Like this Korok's super fun. Like he almost sounds like if like Cartman and Stan or Cartman and Kyle merged into one being. He kind of has that like that voice.
Fair. Fair.
But like yeah, these moments are great. I love the twist around the construct here that looks like Link. I think it is a very smart idea. But it takes all of the things that are very cool about Tears of the Kingdom. Like you even get to use that ability where like you come up through the surface. They use that in the story context because like again,
Nice.
Link has what's his name's arms, so he has the ability of replicating a lot of those powers.
Yes.
But it's excellent. Like it is absolutely good. If you like the last one, if you were inconsistent on the last one because maybe the performance was not there, this one's got a lot of really good things going for it. It's going to be super fun playing in co-op because you won't feel that grind as much because you're just swapping between the characters. You're using all the team up skills. So like when you have the team up skill between the construct and the Korok, one person flies the construct, the other person drops the bombs as the Korok.
Oh, that's
So
cool. That's
there's
cool.
some pretty neat things. I highly recommend it. I highly recommend it.
Highly recommend it.
And we've all
Nice.
seen the movie leaks as well too. That shows what Zelda looks like, shows what Link looks like to a point. But no, this is an absolutely excellent game. It's going to score extremely high, but the criticisms I have are it just feels too repetitive, and its cast is bloated for kind of no reason.
Yes. That's fair. That's absolutely fair. We last night we did start playing, as we mentioned briefly. We played some Call of Duty. I'm going to show you a little bit of our gameplay here, but we won't show too much of it because I'm actually going to put it up on the channel as a sort of campaign playthrough, and if you guys want more of it, we can do that. But here's some of the gameplay. This is from my perspective.
Yeah,
Um,
and
and how do you feel about it, Jeff?
so I was like, when it started, I'm like, okay, yeah, this looks expensive. This looks like super fun. The shooting feels good. The headshots feel absolutely incredibly satisfying. And the one thing I like too is that you level up your multiplayer perks and guns and all that kind of stuff by playing through the single player. So it is
Yes.
a nice way of getting through that. But when I went into the menu to change the sensitivity because it was just a little too movie, I saw it play in third person. And suddenly my expectation and my desire to play through the campaign went from here to like there because I've been playing a lot of arc raiders. I love third person. I think aiming and shooting in third person is tremendously better than first person. Fight me on it. And it plays so good in third person. I do wish the shoulder swapping was a little easier, a little quicker, because you have to almost remain still to swap shoulders. You can't do it in like as you're moving around.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
It also does this thing that is very interesting and something I did not see coming. And that is, if you are familiar with Scarecrow from the Batman Arkham games, whenever Batman was exposed to the toxins, he would experience hallucinations and weird types of things. And this
Yes.
game goes so heavy into that lane
Hmm.
that it is fucking bizarre.
Yeah. And what I want to say on that is I like and I appreciate and I do think they should be praised for trying something different. And I'm keen to play through, as we play through more of the campaign, see where it goes.
Oh, I've
Oh,
I've seen one boss fight leaked, and I'm like, okay, this is fucked up. I can't wait to play that. So
and I absolutely like. I've been enjoying the gameplay, and I'll talk more about that in a minute. But I do think, and I've seen some criticism from people that although they're trying something different, they might have leaned a little bit too far away from what Call of Duty is. And at the moment, I think from what I've seen and from what we've played of these first couple of missions, I do think they might be going slightly too bizarre. Like, I think they might.
well, like I think it just it yeah, because like the first boss that we fought was an apparition of this guy, and you're basically throwing giant machetes from the sky on him,
Yeah.
and that's a
Yeah.
little weird. Yeah, I think it could go a little bit too bizarre. I will say that it was a little um disjointed of like going from like this tightly corridor thing to this big open area world. That
Yeah.
felt like you were still being pulled in certain directions. You might have
Hmm.
well just made it linear.
And I also think that when you think of Call of Duty campaigns, you think of this tight, very linear sort of thing traditionally, with
Yeah, it's like
maybe
an
a
action movie.
with maybe a few levels that offer you a bit more freedom, right? It
Yeah,
like they've done some of that stuff in the past, and I'm all for that stuff, and I'm absolutely for them trying different
right out
things.
the door.
I just think they've done a little bit. My initial impression is they've gone a little bit too far here from what the core Call of Duty campaign identity is.
Yeah,
However, having said that, the gunplay feels fantastic. As Jeff mentioned, the feedback from headshots and bullets
oh,
and
it's got a really nice ding, 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 like it's got a really
yeah,
nice ting to getting those shots.
yeah, and you know you're fighting against like cyborg type things here and human enemies and
Yeah,
and drones and all these different things and the sound design is genuinely really good, like very very good. There was a wingsuit element that Jeff hates, but I actually was having lots of fun with.
oh, it's horrible. And then that flying squirrel came in. Oh my god.
And
Yeah, I
so
was
it
just like,
is fun.
and you're like, wee.
So it's very enjoyable, and I do look forward to playing more of it. And like I said, we will be putting that. We did the first couple of missions last night
Yeah,
at time of
the
recording.
campaign's
Uh,
like 5 hours or something like that.
yeah.
So
So I'll be putting this footage unedited, completely raw, because I want you to see it as it happened. And we talk a little bit in it, so there are some impressions you'll get from us as well. If you like seeing that stuff and you want to see more, oh, here we go. I forgot. I wanted to mention this.
hacking game.
There is like a small little mini hacking game here, which I kind of liked the first time I saw it. I was like, oh, this is a bit
It's like
different.
a Bioshock kind of System Shock. You know,
Yeah.
even Spider-Man that did like a hacking
And,
game.
and it's not hard, but it's nice to have something a little different to do in the game from time to time. But yeah, I look forward to playing more of it. I always enjoy a Call of Duty campaign, and quite frankly, I think that I can understand people being negative about this campaign because of it being so different from what you might expect for Call of Duty. And that is absolutely understandable. But the core gameplay is still brilliant, right? The core gameplay is still so much fun. And I know that, Jeff, you have played a little bit of the multiplayer as well, so perhaps you can talk on that to finish off here.
Yeah, I played like Call of Duty.
That's fair.
Yeah,
That's fair.
I've only played about 3 rounds and stuff, and like it's, we one round, and then the next one, most of the team like left, so we just got spanked.
Wow.
But the map design seemed fairly okay. Like the shooting still feels fine, but it still feels like Call of Duty. Like I won't play too much of the PvP. Like I may review it. I don't know. Depends what kind of time I've got.
Yes.
But I mean, like the multiplayer, it feels like Call of Duty. But I mean, in an era where Arc Raiders exists and I can get my PvP fix there, I'd rather play that for PvP.
I can understand that. I want to
try zombies and stuff like that. And that, here's the thing: if Call of Duty did the thing where your past purchases for a lot of these licensed characters would show up in multiplayer, like Fortnite does, I would be a lot more engaged, because I literally spent real money on Rhea Ripley, and I'd have to go back to play that Call of Duty if I want to play as Rhea Ripley.
Yes.
And I think that's foolish, because
and I think that as long as they're going to do the skin stuff, which some people have criticized quite heavily, because for a lot of people it doesn't fit within Call of Duty, but if they're going to continue to do that stuff, I think they need to find a way to have these skins carry over from game to game.
Exactly, because I mean, like 2 weeks before this one came out, they had like Chucky and Bride of Chucky skins. It's like, what good is that for the people who just bought those? Because they're going to jump into this Call of Duty now, and then that purchase feels stupid. Like if they did a $5 licensing fee to bring those characters over, I would pay that gladly.
Yeah, so would I. Because I got, on the last Call of Duty, I bought the Replacer skin, because if you see the Call of Duty adverts, you may have seen the Replacer out and about, and I just find him funny, and having him talk to you in the game while you're killing people and stuff in multiplayer.
Oh, yeah, or you have like frigging,
hilarious.
Not Rihanna, was, what's her name? I can't remember, but she was like, saying like, "Oh, my 6." It's like, "Oh," like all these different like terms and stuff, and it was just so freaking funny.
Yeah, so it's like I enjoy that stuff, but again, it's like I very rarely. I do spend money on skins occasionally, but it has to be something that really grabs me.
That's what it is.
Yeah, it has to be something that really grabs me for me to spend money on it.
Alexa Bliss on the mobile version. If you had Alexa Bliss on this game, I would log in and buy it right now.
Wow.
Like, there's a lot of like really cool skins. Like, I love having the wrestlers on there, and like having like, if they had like Rhea Ripley back.
Give me Joe Hendry.
Yeah, and he just like sings occasionally.
Yeah. Or like you have a special ability with him, because you do get abilities in this, I believe, and you have a special ability where you can like transport yourself straight in front of the enemy or something.
Yeah, and you just like turn, and then it's just gunfire, and you're just like shot. Yeah, RKO.
But yeah, it's Call of Duty. If you like Call of Duty, you're probably going to like this game.
Yeah, and next episode we'll talk probably more about the campaign as well as zombies as well too. So
and the campaign may not be of your taste, because it is very different. I'm going to warn people about that.
Like Emma, I think is her name, whatever. You unlock her at level 40 when you play multiplayer.
Yes.
But she looks really cool. I like her mannerisms. I like the tattoo going up to the
and they do. And they still have those really high quality cutscenes as well that they do.
Oh yeah, because you got Michael Rooker in there as well too.
Yeah.
You got the one girl that's plays 50-50. She's on The Expanse. I don't know who the other guy is. So
they have a decent cast here, which Call of Duty always has some well-known faces in and around it for sure. I look forward to playing more of it. I'm sure we'll have more of it on the channel. Whether that is, like I said, if you watch our campaign gameplay, which will probably be up the same day as you're seeing this podcast, but maybe slightly later, if you enjoy our campaign gameplay and want to see the rest of our campaign playthrough, please let us know. Like that video, comment on that video, and I'll make sure we continue to release those. But failing that, I'm sure that we'll probably stream some zombies at some point as well, or
Oh, for
something
sure.
like
Like
that.
I love to play like zombies when it's done well. The last couple, not the last zombies, or the one before, where it was a big giant open world. That sucked ass. That was just like
I agree.
Warzone with zombies.
I
It
agree.
was the worst zombies that they.
So apparently this one's back to round-based zombies, so we'll see how that goes. We'll see how that one goes. But yeah, for now, I think that's it for this episode of the Gaming Mix. Thank you for joining us. As always, you can check us out over on analogstickgaming.com, where I'm sure Jeff has about 100 reviews on the way.
Well, the when you're seeing this right now, the SpongeBob review will be on the website. We're also going to have the review for Laundry Store Simulator, which Rebecca has done. That's going to be on the website as well. So those reviews are going up. And then in the next couple of days, you're going to see the review for Sacred 2 Remaster. I've been playing that, and I'm a massive fan of Sacred 2. And for me to give the game the score that I'm giving it is very telling of the remaster itself.
Is it the greatest remaster ever, or is it the worst? You'll have to tune into the website to find out. But yeah, for now, I think that's it. I'm going to probably go and play Dispatch again at some point. But I do actually want to say one more thing before we sign off. We we are allowed to say this. We have been privileged to be asked to be part of the judging panel for the Grand Game Awards, which is a Game Awards ceremony out of Algeria, I believe is the main base for it. It is a Middle Eastern Game Awards
I think there's
ceremony.
Like 8 or 9, or 7, 8 or 9 North American outlets that were chosen for this. And yeah, it's interesting. They've got a lot of really neat categories, like Best Collector's Edition, which is very
they do some unique things with their categories, which I really like. And it's very much about celebrating games. They do have a video up right now confirming their nominations. And we were part of that process. We can say that. You know, we had to send off a list of things that we wanted to nominate in each of these categories.
On those winners.
And we will. We'll be voting on the winners. We'll be sending off those. And then you can find out the winners in December, on the 19th of December. I believe there will be a live stream on their YouTube channel and other things. You can check out their website. We have a news article for it on analogstickgaming.com with all the relevant links you need, so you can check that out, and I'll link it below so you can get straight to that article as well, just so you can get everything you need from there. But yeah, that really is it now. So thank you for tuning into this episode, and we will see you next time. Goodbye.
Yeah.